South Africa, and a very warm welcome to you. This is Afternoon Express. My name's Jeannie D.
And I'm Bonnie Booley. Today is World Health Day, and we're joined by a woman who's not only an actress, but she's also a health expert and a raw food advocate, Esosa E, and she'll be chatting to us about going vegan. You've just gone vegan.
No, I can't even discuss it. I've been vegan now for a month, and I am hangry.
And she's hangry, like
I want cheese all day, every day now. I'm telling you, the struggle is real. We're going to be discussing a little bit more later.
About that, yeah. We're also joined by Dr. Chamendran, who'll be chatting to us about diabetes and what a problem it is in South Africa at the moment, especially type 2 diabetes.
All right, and because it's Thursday, of course, we are all about fashion, and we're going to be finding out about the exciting work done by designer Tsotetsi KL, and he's absolutely incredible. He's going to be showing us some of his finest garments. Yeah. And of course, there's exciting news. As you've heard, the Win a Home series, much anticipated, is now going to be broadcast on Afternoon Express. But to celebrate all of this, we're going to be speaking to the winners of the first 2 shows, just to find out how their lives have changed.
Yeah. Well, Danilo's in the kitchen.
Lots to get through on the show today. Welcome to Afternoon Express South Africa. My name is Danilo Aquista. So we're speaking all things health this entire week, and we've spoken a bit about veganism. And today in the kitchen, we've got a really, really cool expert with us. He's written a few books about it. He's a raw food chef. Peter Daniel joins us in the loft today, and he's not going to be making one. He's going to be making 2 recipes for us on the show today, and both of them don't require cooking. How cool is that?
Quick, easy, for sure, no burning yourself.
Awesome. Welcome to our loft. I hear there's one special ingredient that we're using today. What is that ingredient?
Hemp seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to get South Africans wondering, what is hemp doing on Afternoon Express? Well, we'll prove to you all the health benefits that come with hemp and tell you that it is very different to the other kind of hemp that people know about. Sure. And we'll explain all of those to you later on. So if you want to know all things about hemp and healthy foods, raw foods, veganism, make sure you stay tuned to Afternoon Express today, because you'll find out all those details later on. But if you want to get this recipe in the meantime, it's on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. You can also find the shopping list there for you and the entire family to get making these dishes at home. We've also got a competition to give away a few books as well, so keep your eyes glued to SABC3 right now. 2 of the most beautiful women in the world are standing by on the couch.
Danilo, flattery will get you everywhere. Now, you may have seen her in the hit series An African City. CNN and the BBC have dubbed as South Africa's or Africa's answer to Sex and the City. Apart from acting, she's also a producer and a writer of her own films, award-winning fashion designer, as well as an outspoken vegan and raw food advocate. Joining us in the loft is Esosa E. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, I think you were put on a list of 30 of the most extraordinary people or Africans living in New York City.
Yes.
And when I was reading your biography, I just thought, I cannot wait to interview you, because I think you were born into a life that was definitely guaranteed to be exciting.
Yeah.
So you grew up Nigerian born, but in New York.
Yeah, so my parents are from Benin, Nigeria, and they both came to America for college, and I was born in New York City. And my dad is an entrepreneur. I actually am very much like him. He does many things. He writes books, he's a consultant, he runs a global church. And my parents moved around a lot when I was young. So I lived in New York, I lived in California, I lived in Jamaica. I ended up doing a lot of work, my middle school and high school was mostly in Fairfax, Virginia. And then I started traveling on my own as well. I went to school in London for a short time. So I've hopped around.
What kind of benefits do you think it has on a young woman to be able to observe so many different cultures?
Oh my gosh, it's so important. I think what it did to me is it turned me into a writer and into a performer, because you start to absorb so many cultures. And I really believe that thing, never judge a book by its cover, and I try to apply that in my own life. And because I've witnessed so many different walks of life, I feel like it makes me a more empathic person.
Yeah. Now, not only extremely ambitious and beautiful, but you started your modeling career from a very young age. How old were you?
I started dabbling in modeling around 16. I was more focused on education, so I didn't really get into it full stop. And then when I moved to New York City, I got into it a little bit more, but mostly by people finding me. I mean, I was in Essence magazine and they actually called me. I didn't have an agent at that time. So things sort of found me, and that was really exciting and interesting.
Then at what point did your passion for film and production really come into it?
Well, film started mostly in college. So I was studying fashion design, and I was so passionate about fashion, and I was known to do several fashion shows a year. At the same time, I was studying acting, and I was going to New York, and I was already performing off-Broadway. Yeah. And then I was doing the theater department at my college. They would never cast me. I would always be called back and da-da-da. But the film people loved me.
Yes,
I was in like all the short films. And then I finally exhausted doing all the short films, and I realized, oh, I want to do something more meaty, and no one's going to write it for me. So I decided to write my first short film, and I just fell in love with filmmaking and the collaborative process, and just, there's nothing like it. So it uses every aspect of my creativity making a film, because you can get involved in fashion elements, the visual elements, the writing, the acting.
Something that intrigues me most about you, and that I'm so excited about, is you really are hot property in terms of short films and as a film writer and producer now in the States. But you've moved back to South Africa now, and you are working on The African City, which is huge. I mean, I don't know if anyone really thought that a web series in Africa would have been as well received as what it has been.
Right. God is amazing. I mean, the whole thing has been completely amazing. I was attached to several pilots at that time, and An African City was something that I thought had potential, but I had no idea what was going to happen. It's shot in Accra, Ghana. And it's about these women who decide to move from their Western lives back to Africa to find love, and also to they want to be a part of the continent. They love their home country, but they also feel a bit removed because they weren't born and raised in Ghana, or like as me, I wasn't born and raised in Nigeria.
So you must relate quite closely to your character then.
I do relate to her to some degree. My character is the very, very conservative one. She's Christian. She's decided to be celibate till marriage while everybody else is sleeping it around. And
good for her.
And then one day when I was sitting at lunch with the producer, and I was putting in my elaborate order, my like no cheese, no this, she was like, you know what? Let's make Ngozi a vegetarian. She was like, vegan is too extreme, but let's make her vegetarian. So now my character is vegetarian, and it kind of sheds light on how the struggle, because the struggle is real. The struggle is very real to be vegetarian in Africa.
I travelled through Africa, funny enough, last year for quite an intense travel show. And if you're going to be vegan travelling through Africa, you will starve.
Yes, no, you will. But this is one of the reasons why I love Cape Town. Like, I got here and I was like, I could actually live here. There are juice bars, there are raw food restaurants, there are different things that I can...
But I have to high-five you, because you really are championing the raw food movement. I mean, you've written 2 books on it. The first one that was the acne-free diet, and the other one was Go Veg, trying to eat vegetables. What was it?
Yeah, Got Veg, How to Thrive on a Plant-Based Diet. Yeah, that's my latest book. So I've written actually 4 books, but this is my latest one. And Got Veg came about because a lot of people read my blog. My blog is called Raw Girl in a Toxic World. And it started because people wanted to know what I was doing, what I was eating, why I was buying that superfood, all that stuff. So I decided to start writing because I'm a writer, and it was my easiest way to get the information to people. And then I realized after a couple of years that people kept asking the same questions, like, how do I go vegan? How do I transition? How can I make my food taste good? What nutrients do I need to pay attention to? And I just realized I wanted to create something very basic that a lot of people, whether or not they want to be vegan, or maybe they just want to be healthier, or they want to eat more raw food or more vegetables and fruits, then I wanted to create something for that, and that's what Got Veg is about.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to go and visit your blog now, because it's not easy. And there's a whole transitioning from your body before you're vegan and while you're becoming vegan. Your whole body changes.
No, everything changes, your skin, your body, and people don't realize also that the way you eat affects your spiritual and mental mindset as well. Hugely. So there's a big transition, and you kind of have to allow yourself to go through that process of detox, and you might even have some emotions come up. You gotta deal with whatever you gotta deal with. You're like, I'm going through it right now.
We're gonna be chatting about that a little bit later. I love you. You are staying on this couch. Now remember, today is World Health Day, and continuing on topic with health and raw foods, after the break, we're making a basil and hemp pesto, which is made with only raw ingredients. It's very exciting, so stay right there. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So it's Health Week, and today we're focusing on raw foods and veganism. And we've had a really interesting interview about someone who's adopted the lifestyle for themselves. But we haven't actually spoken about what veganism and raw food actually is. And so Peter Daniel, our chef that's in the loft with us today, he's a raw food chef, will tell us a little bit more about that. Because it's fascinating. What's the difference between vegetarianism and veganism and raw foods?
Veganism tends to be no animal foods of any kind, whether that's dairy products or eggs or animal food.
Okay, so no byproducts either as opposed to actual products.
Exactly,
Okay.
even to a point of no honey.
Wow.
Anything made really with an animal as part of it.
Okay.
Vegetarian, a little bit more relaxed,
Yeah.
no meat, but dairy and eggs.
Okay, and raw food, is that just, what's that?
So raw food actually isn't a diet, because all you're doing is you're taking your food and not cooking it.
Yeah.
So you could be a vegetarian, a vegan, a meat eater, a paleo, a banting, you can do all of it raw.
Okay.
You're just not cooking.
I see.
Yeah.
So sushi's regarded as raw food, except
For
without
sure.
the rice, unless you're just eating the sashimi. All right, so we're going to be cooking a raw food dish with us in the loft today, and it's something that's good for those parties that you're hosting at your house. And it's very delicious, by the way. Anyone who likes a pesto will love this dish that we're making. So how do we get started with what we're making?
Pesto is actually really simple to make. You need the green, you need the fat, and you need the flavor.
Okay.
So you mix those three together and you've got a
something
pesto.
delicious.
Yeah. So any green really, whether it's basil or rocket or coriander or even spinach, you want that green base. Then any seeds, which will give you the fat.
And today's fascinating, so I'm going to interrupt you there because today is so fascinating. We're cooking with hemp seed, all right? You guys will see it right over here in the loft with us today, and everyone's got very confused, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are going like, I actually didn't know the difference between healthy hemp food that you can eat and the one that's obviously used for recreational purposes that we do not recommend you use in the kitchen at all. What is the difference between what you're using and...
So the industrial hemp is grown primarily for fiber and seed, so it's very low in the psychoactive THC. Very low to no levels.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what you do with this, it'll never get you high, it'll never get you stoned.
Okay.
Whereas obviously the drug variant is grown specifically for the cannabinoid THC, which gets you high.
See. Okay, fantastic. We're using the seeds today, which I think is also quite cool. So let me help you out, because apparently this just gets thrown into a blender. So
yeah,
let's get
there's
started.
a few pieces of equipment you could use. I've just got my blender, and that's what I use. Is very quick. You could use a pestle and mortar. You can use a Magimix.
Okay.
You just want to get it all mashed up.
Basically, whatever's going to keep the kids busy for the longest, that's probably what you're going to want to use.
That's the one.
Okay, we're using the blender. What can I help
Yeah,
you
we're going to
with?
start with the greens. So
Cool.
you can grab a bunch of
You
each.
can take the basil, and I'll
Yeah.
do all of this, or just bits?
No, we can do it all.
So what have you got? Just basil there. Is this
Yeah,
also basil?
that's from my garden basil.
Yeah.
Definitely add that.
Chuck that in
You
there.
can actually smell the difference.
It
Pretty
is.
amazing. And yeah, rocket to pop it straight in.
Cool. I would also recommend, sorry, this is just my tip, is to not use too much of the wild rocket, because the wild rocket's got such a bitter flavor. I think when you do add it to this one, it'll just overpower everything else.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The fat does cut it really nicely, but if you're getting into getting organic greens or homegrown greens, they always have a much stronger flavor.
Okay.
Cool.
You keep
so
adding
we can
those things.
do seeds. These are pumpkin seeds.
Yum.
In,
Always very good
in their
for
own
you.
right, really healthy. Loads of amazing nutrients, minerals. And then the hemp seeds. So the hemp seeds, oh man, I love them. They have perfect ratio of protein, very high protein, perfect ratio of omega-3, 6, 9 for your brain and for your entire body health. So they're almost the food designed for human health.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, what was your quick shift in terms of when you chose the lifestyle of veganism? Like, was there a moment in your life that you said, like, something has to change here?
I wasn't pushed up against the wall like many are with disease. I was actually just curious about becoming more and being able to be more healthy and more present, and went to a few workshops in the UK with raw foodists and was very impressed. And the information was sound, it made sense,
Yeah.
it was logical. Did a lot of research further, and then was totally sold, and since I've never looked back. Yeah.
Sure, amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people might get quite intimidated by the idea of changing their entire lifestyle and having to become completely vegan or completely raw in the way that they're dealing with their lives. And I think in some ways, just adopting a certain element of veganism or raw food deism is probably the best way to go. And instead of doing a complete 180 of your life.
Totally, that's what I recommend. Slowly, slowly. There's major changes that can happen. You don't want to have to rush that. Otherwise, you deal with detox symptoms and you feel terrible. I always recommend people do that, just add in principle. Okay. Like this pesto is easy,
Yes, it's
people,
simple.
Yeah.
And you guys can basically get this recipe from our website, by the way, afternoonexpress.co.za. And so what we've done is taken a whole bunch of these ingredients. We've taken some basil pesto, we've taken some rocket, we've added in some seeds, some pumpkin seeds were thrown in there, hemp seeds we also put inside, but a little pinch of salt just to add some flavor.
Yeah.
And we're adding some lemon for a slight little bit of a zest, and olive oil, obviously, to turn it into a nice little dipping paste.
Yeah, creaminess. So.
Cool. And all that's left is to blend that all up. And if you guys are wanting to make this first dish, just take one step towards raw foods and veganism. There's so much nutrients in what we're about to make here today. It's a great place to start. You can find the recipe on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. But the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's make this thing do its thing.
Okay.
Ta-da! I'm telling you, this is his favorite part of being on the show, and making sure that he makes vegan food is blending things up and making lots of noise, right?
Voila.
All done. So we're going to put that into this little dish here, and we're serving it with a variety of vegetables. We've got some broccoli, some carrots, we've got some snap peas, and some other corn and celery as well. So you guys can make up your own little varietals and make a really nice dip. So we'll taste that in a little bit later. AfternoonExpress.co.za, recipe and shopping list. Let's go back to the couch.
Now, today's World Health Day, and the theme for this year is Beat Diabetes. The number of people living with diabetes has quadrupled since 1980. Around 350 million people worldwide have diabetes, with at least 90% of these cases having type 2 diabetes. 80% of all diabetes-related deaths occur in low to middle-income countries, and South Africa is no exception. We're joined by Dr. Chamendran to understand exactly how big an issue this is in South Africa. Welcome to the Loft, Doctor. Good to see you again.
And happy World Health Day to you.
Yes, you too. They're making really healthy stuff in the kitchen, and you got excited because you're vegetarian.
I'm vegetarian.
And you've been for
I
13
just want to
years.
say to everybody who thinks that vegetarians have to look like this, you can look like this, Barney.
Wow, wow, y'all peep that. Good to have you with us. Are
Thank
we
you.
a healthy nation?
Okay. So health is a very tricky thing to talk about. You know, when you look at the health statistics of a nation, what do you look at? What determines whether we're a healthy nation? Whether we can run marathons, because we have the Comrades, we have the Two Oceans.
So what are the criteria?
There's certain statistics that the World Health Organization actually looks at. Some of the good indicators of the health of a nation is prenatal or perinatal mortality. So how are infants living into adolescence? How are they living into toddlerhood? Maternal mortality, so are women giving birth and dying? Life expectancy, so there are so many variables. Generally in third world countries, perinatal mortality, maternal mortality, and life expectancy is pretty low. South Africa, in our region, we're doing good. We're doing good. However, according to the global norm, we're still lagging behind, but that can always be changed.
But we're not completely healthy. We're not as healthy as we'd like to be. Is it a lifestyle issue or a diet issue? What is it?
Very much so. It's all of the above. I was actually very impressed with how much you already know. What
We're
can I
just
even teach
stressed
you?
out. We're really just stressed out.
And it's good. And that's why it's so important to educate yourself, because when you're educated, you know what to do to prevent it.
Okay.
And prevention is better than cure, which is actually how you treat it. Well, preventing obesity is the biggest way we can actually solve the problem. And so are we healthy? We could be healthier.
So earlier on in the year, we had a show that covered diabetes, and it's such a wide issue, and we didn't get to talk about everything, so we're talking about it again today. Now, diabetes type 2 is a huge problem in South Africa. Why is that?
Look, as you mentioned, diabetes type 2 is basically 90% of the diabetes cases. Now, type 1 generally means that your body is not producing enough insulin. What diabetes is the circulating levels of glucose, which is a very sweet substance in your body, is actually, well, Barney, you're sweet, but but the circulating levels are a lot sweeter than it should be. Now, the problem with that is it increases your chances of cardiovascular disease, it increases your chances of neurological disease. People like these with diabetes are at risk of going blind, having amputations. So type 1 diabetes is when your body doesn't produce enough insulin, which basically takes the sugar, the glucose, and puts it into the muscle and the liver and other cells. Type 2 is when the liver, the muscle, and other cells are actually like, you know what, insulin, I'm going to sit back. So, no, you guys can do your thing, but I'm not actually going to respond to you. So I'm not going to take that glucose in. So the glucose is just sitting there.
That sounds more serious.
It is way more serious. And the problem is, the thing that the World Health Organization is trying to push is the fact that it's preventable.
Oh, wow. So who's most at risk?
The people that are most at risk, that's been actually found by the World Health Organization surveys, are people in low and middle income countries. So, and the low and middle income people, or population rather, why are they at risk? They're at risk because my general tenet is education. Generally, people in this population are not educating themselves. They go with what's being said, and then often they think that it's expensive in order to live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
So how do you live a healthy lifestyle? Exercise more.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean you join any health club or anything, you don't have to do those things. Just going out 30 minutes a day.
30 minutes walk a day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Vigorous exercise. And then making healthy dietary choices.
Yes. What are the telltale signs of diabetes type 2?
Now, I'm sure we're all going to think we've got diabetes when I say this, but bear in mind...
I'm a hypochondriac, so I'll think that anyway.
Okay, we're going to have to test you on camera.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Do that.
I'm down.
Okay. So generally, if you've got diabetes, most patients have unexplained weight loss or weight gain, dizziness, polydipsia, where they end up drinking a lot of fluids and they would have just had a glass of water and then they feel like
they're still thirsty.
They're just permanently thirsty. And with that comes polyuria, so they wee a lot.
Oh, wow.
Dizziness, polydipsia, so drinking a lot, and weeing a lot, along with unexplained weight gain or weight loss, is telltale of diabetes.
Okay, I have none of those.
That's not what you said when they were making that smoothie.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's always lovely to have you in the loft.
Thank you for having me.
After the break, we're back in the kitchen with raw food chef Peter Daniel to make a healthy green smoothie, and we move our focus onto fashion with designer Tsotetsi KL. We'll be right back.
A warm welcome back to Afternoon Express, although I should say probably a cold afternoon welcome back to Afternoon Express, because we're making raw food today. It's not cooked, and that's what's so delicious about it. It's so healthy for you. We're focusing on veganism, as it is Health Week right here on the show today. In the kitchen with us today is Chef Peter Daniel, and he's showing us 2 recipes today. We've made a pesto made with hemp seeds. We've thrown up a whole bunch of other greens inside of that one, a bit of oil and some seeds. Now we're focusing on something different, which is a nice smoothie, and it's a green smoothie. You can make it any time of the day, I'm right. But
for sure,
probably a good start to the day.
Definitely.
Right, just get those nice greens in, flush the system, make sure it's clean on the inside.
Fiber, not that sweet.
Okay.
The reason I've chosen greens for both the recipe, it's the food that most people ignore. You know, eating greens is low on the list of most people's priorities. So any way you can sneak it in, you know, the greens are the mineral miners. They get all the minerals, and the standard Western diet is very deficient in minerals. So upping your green intake is key for health. And
so what's awesome about it is if you make it into a smoothie, you can just do it in one whole go. You don't have to have like each individual piece of vegetable on the side of your plate that you have to keep eating. Just put it all into a smoothie, drink them all in one go, and hopefully that'll get you started towards wanting to have a greener lifestyle. I got a tweet from someone to say he's a Xhosa man and they like a lot of meat, but you can always add a smoothie to that to make sure you do get your greens in as well. You don't have to be a complete vegetarian. Okay, how do we get started?
Great, so we've got water as the first ingredient. I collect my water from Newland Spring. I like my water.
You really are a natural man.
Well.
How do you sleep? I don't want to know.
Well, extremely well. Okay, so we've got a bit of water, and then it's really simple. It's greens and fruit. So the greens have obviously the strong bitter green taste, and the fruit, the sweetness of it, makes it delicious. So it's kind of where sneaking the greens in. So we've got a bag of mixed greens here. There's some
watercress in there, I see.
I wouldn't put too much watercress in. It's a very strong flavour.
I'm not a fan. If I see salads with watercress in it, immediately my whole body like goes.
Let's use some of the spinach from my garden again. That stuff's great.
Nice, yes.
A little bit more.
Put a bit more, yeah. Spinach is packed full of that iron.
Absolutely, let's do it all.
Totally.
Okay, and then we go for the fruit. So you can use pineapple, you can use mango, you can use figs, pretty much any sweet
whatever's
fruit
in season.
Yeah,
okay.
And we've got the most amazing mangoes in season at the moment.
So can I just put these pieces in?
Totally, please do.
Yummy, yummy. Oh, I love mango, and when they're in season, oh, they're so delicious.
Yeah,
cool.
And these are grown in the Western Cape. They're incredible. Pop the whole thing in.
Pop that whole thing in there.
You're going to make this to taste. You know, some people have a very strong sweet, should I say most people have a strong sweet tooth.
Yes.
So you start with a lot of fruit and a little bit of green. As you get used to the green, you back off on the fruit and you up the green.
And if you like a lot of greens, maybe something like apple is always a good option for you.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing this is also
good. A bit of lemon is great. The lemon just helps cut the taste of the green too and helps you digest the green a little bit better.
Okay. And also lemons are full of antioxidants and things, which is great for your system.
It's the most alkalizing fruit you can eat, which is quite amazing.
The
pips are good too, yeah, we can blend them up.
Cool.
So pop the lid on there, got to tighten that one down tight.
I'm totally taking over here because I love this little blender thing. It's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to let you do the honors because you like blending things, it seems.
I've been doing it a long time.
Oh, there go the greens from the top. Let's get those in there.
Get them in there. There we go.
Yummy. Wow. What are some of the health benefits of obviously going green with your stuff and the raw vegan? Did you find like your entire life had changed, or was it just subtle things that you noticed?
No, major changes.
Really?
I was practically diabetic. Couldn't hold a glass of water because I'd shake so much. Constantly had to eat to keep my blood sugar stable. And the greens literally saved my life because the mineral density is so extreme with the greens that your whole system calms down. That's why I really focus on the greens.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people aren't eating a lot of this sort of vegetables and balancing that diet quite nice. I'm going to pour you a glass here too.
Thank you.
But I'd love to give this a taste because I've had people who've tweeted me during the show and said to me like, why don't you ever taste the food and tell me what it tastes like? Well, now you get a chance. Ooh, you've chosen such a nice combination of fruit in here. And to be honest, those of you who are worried about all of your greens and don't want to taste too much of the spinach or anything else, you literally can't taste it at all. It tastes like some delicious fruit. So start somewhere, lots of fruit, a little bit of greens, and then keep adding more greens as you go throughout the recipe and just make this throughout your days. Get a lot more raw food into your bodies. If you want to get this specific recipe though, and you want to make this one that tastes so delicious, it's on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. I need to take a quick swallow there. Afternoonexpress.co.za so you can find the recipe and the shopping list for this one, but throw your own ingredients if you can in there. And just make it your own, enjoy the process, and have fun with us right here on Afternoon Express. Over to the couch.
Whilst completing his final year of studies at Tshwane University of Technology in 2012, he interned with renowned fashion designer Clive Rundle. After graduating, he went on to work with David KL as his mentor and then launched his own high fashion label called Tsotetsi KL. In a few years, the brand has gained international recognition by focusing on precision, quality and sophistication. His collections have even walked at the prestigious Black Paris Fashion Week in 2014. He's joining us right now in the loft. Welcome to the loft.
Thank you very much.
So happy to have you. Now, I think we are constantly intrigued, I suppose, by the people that we meet, because we get to meet so many people all the time.
Amazing
but
people.
I'm always so infatuated with the idea of understanding where people come from and understanding why they are the way they are now. So you're a young guy, born in Soweto, raised in Vereniging. How do you think, take us to that young man, and what were your influences, do you think, that happened then for you to be who you are today, and of course to have explored fashion the way you did?
I think, most especially growing up in the Vaal, I always had the love for women in heels. So I think a woman for me made it. If you constantly
love it,
heel, it has always made my day. So then, obviously, as a young boy, you would obviously try and explore a bit more. And then I explored and I went straight to the waist. And then I always wanted to cinch them in so that you explore and see the silhouettes
You can
properly.
stay. You can stay.
Yes, we are going to be besties.
So those were one of the things that actually got me into fashion. And then I started then tempering with my mother's skirts, go in a bit and put a safety pin on the waist. And then figured that, okay, a wedge doesn't always work on every woman, or a pump doesn't work on every woman.
Thank you.
And
you need to come here and do our fashion segments.
So those are some of the things that I realized.
Right.
So immediately once I got into primary school, then I decided to actually purchase things. And first thing I purchased was my first sewing machine. And then started applying for tertiary in primary already. And my mother was supportive enough to give me money to do that.
I was actually about to ask, was your environment supportive? I mean, socially, was it acceptable at that time for a boy to be interested in women's clothing and women's fashion? Was that questioned by people around you?
It was always questioned. It was always a matter of, oh, okay, if you're going into the arts, you're not really smart, or you'll never make it, or there's really no money in the arts. So the problem actually got to a point where I started feeling the pressure and started not performing with my academics and solely focused on just making clothes. So, and then I went into making T-shirts for my peers at school for money and learn
So if you've got a
things.
kid and you can see he's good at something, then you can't, I
have
don't
to
think you have a
encourage it.
choice but to back him.
Yeah, you have to.
Now, you then seeked out a mentorship program, I suppose, or an internship with Clive Rundle. And I'm quite fascinated as to your choice, because Clive Rundle is amazing, but he's an artist for me. His stuff is so crazy and so out there. Why was he your choice?
And how tough was it to get him to an intern with him?
Immediately from tertiary, you're always trying to find ways to actually make it into the industry. So, but especially if you're a young designer as well, or a student designer, it becomes extremely difficult. I wanted to explore in terms of quality. He actually uses the most expensive fabrics, and his choice of detail is exceptional. He pays much attention to his craft as well. So I had to actually walk down Joburg CBD and go find his premises and literally knock on the door and actually ask to intern. So immediately after that, after my internship of 6 weeks, he then actually surprisingly called me back and asked me to work for a year.
Amazing.
So it is helpful. I wanted to explore on different aesthetics as well from different designers, which I've been working with a local designer in Pretoria, but however, I wanted more. I wanted challenge. I wanted.
And international. I mean, Clive Rundle has got a client base from all over the world.
Definitely.
You then went and had a mentorship with David Clalle. How important is mentorship for a young designer?
For me, mentorship is exceptionally important. It's actually a degree above what you actually get in tertiary. So if you, I would say a minimum of 3 years to 4 years to actually refine the craft, because it's not only about the fabric that you put on a woman. You actually have to explore how comfortable this particular woman is and the particular piece you put them in, or actually understand the body and how to actually try and perform plastic surgery through garments. So it's always about hiding and literally squeezing, shoving.
Enhancing.
Yes, and enhance.
Yeah, you're also a fashion lecturer.
Yes.
With all your experience and all the types of influences you've had, what is the driving force of what you teach young fashion students?
I was always pushed by the fact that you can have the talent, you can have the craft, but at the end of the day, it's about business. You have to support it financially. So you have to actually account for every little piece of item or a little piece of product that you make use of onto the actual garment. So we get fooled in the glitz and the glamour, the traveling, the dressing of celebrities, but at the end of the day, we as designers or we as artists literally starve at the back, and then we come into light and we pull up this front that, no, everything is okay when it's not. So that's like the kind of driving force that actually pushes me to actually even lecture and give talks and actually encourage other young students that, no, it's not about that, it's about business.
But that's a good advice for anybody in any career. Your books need to be in order. But you can be a supermodel if you want to, but if you're not, sending your invoices and if you're not balancing your books at the end of the month, you're not going to do well.
You're never going to make it.
No.
Wow. Well, later on, we're going to see some garments that you brought for us, right?
Definitely.
Looking forward to it. After the break.
We're going to take a short break.
We're going to be chatting to you after the break. We're going to be catching up with the designer winners of the first 2 seasons of Win a Home. I'm so excited to see that. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. So we've got something so exciting to share with you. The upcoming 3rd season of Win a Home will be landing on your TV screens right here on Afternoon Express very, very shortly. Today in the loft, we have the 2 very successful winners of Season 1 and Season 2. Joining us is Donald Nxumalo as well as Jacoline Sema. Welcome to the loft, guys, both of you, and congratulations.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Oh, good. You guys are twins. I see you guys working well together.
It's a family thing. It's a Win a Home family thing.
We're actually going to start at the end before we make our way back to the beginning. I want to know what your lives are like now since winning Win a Home. So, Donald, let's start with you.
It's hectic. We are working consistently. The projects are getting bigger. Obviously, with the project getting bigger, the budgets are getting bigger. The clients are getting fussier. We're traveling. We're traveling a lot more. We're very grateful, growing strength to strength. So yeah, we're very grateful. We're doing well,
man. So you're doing a whole bunch of work in the same field, which is exciting. So that's,
mainly residential, because on Win a Home we did a home, and so I did a lot of apartments in the beginning, and then people trusted me with their homes. So now I'm doing homes in Cape Town, in Joburg, all over the place.
Sure, exciting. Jacqueline?
We've done more corporate work, so it's been great. I mean, Evoke Design has grown from the win. I think the brand has grown a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, sure. And specifically the relationship with Win a Home and your success now moving forward. I mean, let's try and get like a before, what happened during, and then the sort of after. How has this changed the way that you deal with your work? How has it built the brand for you? What has it done for you as a business?
I think a fundamental component of being on the show is managing a budget and staying within a budget. That will always remain, because the client will always give you a budget. So you need to keep within those.
Give you far less than what you need, always.
Yes, and if you're good with the budget, you'll be good with the bigger budget. So no matter what happens, you have to keep within those constraints. And if you can do amazing things on a small thing, you'll do incredible things on a bigger thing.
Absolutely. Did the project and being on the show ever like elevate, sort of add new clients to what you do? Like did someone notice you from that show and then give you work?
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of viewers, so we got a lot of clients coming through, And I think more than anything in terms of time management, I mean, Winner Home gave us 3 days to redesign a whole space. And that helped now because you know that you are able to do it. Where before the show, who would have known that you can actually pull off a space within 3 days?
Unless you tried it, and you guys did. Donald, your current projects, what are you working on currently?
Well, mainly residential projects. I mean, I've got a few projects here in Cape Town, mostly Johannesburg-based, but, you know, I've got upcoming projects overseas that, you know, if I get the time, I'll be able to slip away from South Africa and go do those projects. But right now, mainly residential projects. I'm quite happy. My clients are quite happy to have me here, and I'm quite good at that.
Sure, man. You've got a real business sense about you. I can tell that you're the salesman, too. We like that. We like that. Jacoline, yourself, what are you currently working on?
Well, myself, we're currently working on building our brand as Evoke.
Awesome.
And we're trying to get more into more residential because, well, we've worked really more on corporate than we have on residential. So
a lot of these contestants who are going to be entering our new competition are probably sitting on the edge of their seats wanting to know what it is that they can learn from your guys' journeys, both of you. Would you have any advice for people who are wanting to consider, maybe some designers are sitting at home, maybe I'm not good enough and don't want to sign up, or maybe they're saying like, oh, I'm beyond this and don't want to sign up. What do you feel are your viewpoints on that?
I'd be interested in seeing designers who are ready, who are mentally ready, and who are mentally astute to handle the pressure of being in a challenge to do, I mean, pulling a room together in 3 days. You have to be ready for that. But also, if you're looking to get this as a heads up for your business, there's a fantastic platform for you. But if you want to get into a company and you want a company to see you, that's also a fantastic opportunity to do that.
So it is actually a rad way to set up a career for yourself.
Absolutely, and you must take every opportunity that comes your way.
Your journey was also quite interesting on Winner Home. So I'm interested to know what your feedback is to potential contestants.
My feedback would be learning. I mean, I learned a hell of a lot on Winner Home in terms of detail. I mean, you're an interior designer, you're a decorator, and you're a stylist all in one. And also the pressure as well, as Donald said. It's a hell of a lot of pressure to deal with. And it's like that with clients all the time because your clients expect the best from you.
Totally. You built quite a cool friendship on that show, and it's became something amazing. Tell us about that relation that you built, because that wasn't about the win, that was something completely separate.
Yes. So Sfisa and I, he was also contested on the show. We had a rival on set, but off set we were really good friends. And we decided to actually have an NPO. So what we'll be doing is redesign an existing orphanage, and we'll be, we need to be done by the 18th of July. So it's a lot of pressure, but I mean, I think the need is there. You know, more people need to live in really good spaces. I mean, just because you're an orphan, it doesn't mean that you need to be living in more or less space.
Absolutely. You need to be making sure, because a space in so many ways defines your mood, it defines who you are. It creates a sort of environment that you either want to grow up in or don't want to grow up in, want to replicate or not replicate. People don't actually realize the importance of space and what that does to you as an individual.
For sure.
Donald, your future plans?
I would like to travel more. I think, you know, traveling as a designer opens up your horizons. I mean, you travel differently as a designer. You don't need to stay in a 5-star hotel, but just walking around streets of Tanzania or Tanzania or Zanzibar, you see the old doors, you see the cobblestones. That really inspires you to create better things out there.
Amazing. Jacoline?
Well, with me, I think I haven't really traveled, but I'm really learning a hell of a lot from Donald in terms of mentorship. He's obviously done Stain City, and that's a huge development. And I did Umhlanga, and that's 2 different developers altogether. So I've learned a hell of a lot from him. And I'm hoping to travel sometime soon.
Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to supporting you guys as you move forward. I'm very excited to say that I'll be taking the viewers on this journey. So I'm looking forward to meeting so many new designers and take a lot of what you're teaching me now. And I'm going to share hopefully some of that with them as well. You guys are incredible. Thank you for joining us on the Loft.
Thank you for having us.
These guys are 2 bright young designers, each taking the world completely by storm. So if you are a passionate and qualified designer with less than 5 years of working experience, looking to make a name for yourself, then don't miss this opportunity to apply right now for the new season of Winner Home. Simply head over to afternoonexpress.co.za to find all the information you need. Take a look.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express on this glorious Thursday afternoon. Even if the weather's not fabulous, it's still a glorious afternoon. Now make sure you catch Top Billing this evening at 7:30 on SABC3. Tonight they honour a legend of South African media, an inspiration to women across the country, Nxumalo. From being crowned Miss SA to a long and prosperous career on Top Billing, she spent time with some of the world's most iconic people, including the most famous of talk show hosts, Oprah Winfrey, as well as the late Tata Madiba. Relationships have always been her priority, and of course this showed when she shared her magical wedding day with the Top Billing family. So don't miss out on tonight on Top Billing, highlights of one of the most influential and beautiful women that South Africa has produced.
Yeah, and speaking of beautiful women, we're back on the couch to take a look at some of the breathtaking designs from Tsotetsi KL.
I'm so excited.
We're ready to be
Let
wild.
me quickly ask you a question first. You know, everybody's got their thing. Like Dolce & Gabbana will have their fabrics that you know it's just going to be the most amazing fabrics. What's your thing? How do people identify your style?
Through the luxury of space. So I'll obviously cinch the waist, yes, like I said before. And then there'll be some parts of the garments or that are literally roomy, and they give off a bit of room for you to actually breathe.
There goes our first one.
Wow.
You can actually look. Okay, the fabrics are also very
very luxurious,
organic, and yes, the
opulent.
natural fabrics. That's silk velvet as well as the brocade. So I tighten it up all the way from the waist down, and then give it a tailored slit, so that at least the room can show off the actual top of the velvet. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that you said it was inspired by, ladies in high heels and those very tapered skirts, because that is a very feminine line and angle.
Yeah.
Ooh, love.
For every season, you need an overgarment.
Yes.
So I figured this time around an overgarment can be worn as just the overgarment with nothing underneath, or it can even be an overgarment with something underneath. So just to give the luxury of space through it as well, you can see like the big bishop sleeves, as well as the cinching on the waist, which is like in
very
every
sexy as well.
Very.
It's so sexy without showing any skin.
I think so too, yeah.
Oh, lovely. I love a crop.
Yeah.
A crop top for every woman, irrespective of what's going on underneath. You can literally hide it anyhow. The culotte pants or the narrow legs are also back in season, so it can also be a winter feature. And you can literally have that with an overcoat over it, and it still makes a statement piece.
That look is so me. I have to own that.
Yeah, and I love the
Absolutely
swallows.
gorgeous.
The print is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is not just a romantic, whimsical colour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's turquoise.
Ooh la la.
That's got great structure.
The room is obviously just below the waist, which I wanted to accentuate the hip area and cinch the waist area as well. That is brocade. It's a boat neck coat with very tight pants with it. So you can up wear it or down wear it, however way it's really how you please.
Love
Wow.
Absolutely stunning.
Gorgeous.
Lovely. I love the fashion days on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and there we have
There's
our
our
supermodel.
That's also a brocade dress. It's a tailored slit as well. We also accentuated the waist with like a little satin belt with a vent in front. Space in this one, I would say, could be the high slit. We need to show off a bit of flesh now and then, so we don't
Definitely. So come join us, if you don't mind.
Yes. How do you feel in that garment?
I love it. I love the fabric. I was telling him I love the fabric. I think the fabric's amazing. And I like that he put a slit, because a lot of designers forget that women need room to move.
And they need to
their
walk.
legs.
But funny enough, while I was interviewing you earlier, somebody told me that the outfit you were wearing in our previous interview was actually one of your designs.
Yes, it is.
What's happening with your fashion collection? Where is it available, and where can people see it?
So right now it's not available, but people are hounding me all the time about, oh my God, where can I buy it, where can I buy it? So if you want to follow when it's going to be launched, because it will be soon. I'm working very hard behind the scenes.
Well
you can go to my website. It's esosae.com, and I have a fashion tab. Click on that. You'll find my fashion line, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can follow me and see when it's ready.
You're not only working hard on your designs, but you're also working on a play that we can see soon. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm working on a one-woman show. It's called The Woman Who Would Be King. And it's about, you know, girl.
We get it.
We are here for that. We're here for that.
Y'all already know. She's like,
you
We've
know
got
we
lots of men
understand,
that are
right?
queens, but now it's the women that are kings.
That is so beautiful.
Yes.
And when can we see it?
So it's about one of the first female pharaohs. Her name was Hatshepsut, and you can go see it at Alexander Bar. The previews are the 20th and the 21st, and then the actual run is the 25th to the 30th. Amazing. Please come, it's going to be amazing. I'm playing everybody. It's a one-woman show.
Just because you are also raw vegan, Danila.
Yes.
And of course, Mr. Daniel has made us an outstanding dinner.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it looks delicious. It's
So you're not also vegan, are you?
No, I'm not vegan.
Okay, good. Well, you are tonight.
It's good though. It's good to try new things.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of people who tweeted me to say that they're really keen to try out some different recipe and to find one of them. So if you guys want to maybe win this book and to try and get working on your sort of healthy lifestyles, raw foods, you can get the book on Afternoon Express. We're giving them away. We're giving one away. All you have to do is SMS the word books, your name and city to 33728. Those SMSs are charged at R1.50, and those T's and C's can be found on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and you could be a winner. So make sure you guys SMS right now.
Fabulous. Looking forward to reading that book, actually.
Well, basically, it's like who's going to we should have a race to see who gets there first.
No, or we can just kind of hand it over because everybody would love to taste that hemp pesto. Yummy.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow in the loft we have hip-hop royalty, Mr. Kulichana. And you definitely don't want to miss that interview. Yeah.
This is delicious. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Same place, same time tomorrow. Good night. Happy eating.
Ciao.
Wow.
Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, we catch up with hip-hop icon Kulichana, who treats us to an exclusive performance. We also chat to Australian health blogger and author Jessica Seppel about living the healthy life. And she makes us a special guilt-free chocolate mousse.
Another feel-good production.
Hi YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Join the Afternoon Express family by subscribing to our channel right here. And we'll keep you up to date with all our recipes and of course our fabulous episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment and share this video. We do love it when you express yourself.